Trump's domestic use of the military is set to get worse, according to a leaked memo. Everyone, Johnny here, don't speak news. Well, here's some more news that they're not speaking too loudly about. But a Department of Homeland Security memo obtained by TNR signals top-level discussions about a potential escalation of the Pentagon's domestic anti-immigration role and lays out new details. So here we go. President Trump has already enmeshed the U.S. military in domestic law enforcement operations involving immigration to an unprecedented degree. Yeah, that was the excuse, guys. Remember, problem, reaction, solution. We had this big problem, right, of the Biden administration letting in all these illegal immigrants, which has been going on long before Biden came along. But anyway, they maximized that problem right then and there. And so then the reaction was, of course, everyone freaking out because of all these crimes going on being committed by these, a lot of times, criminal illegal aliens. So what's the solution? Well, then we got to round them all up and get them out. And the only way to do that is by letting the military help with law enforcement. That's what they're saying. That's the solution. And that's what they're doing. So Trump has authorized a major military buildup at the border. He's maximized the use of military planes for deportations, complete with the White House pumping out imagery of migrants getting frog-marched onto the souped-up military aircraft. He sent the National Guard into Los Angeles amid large-scale protests there, then sent in the Marines. But an internal memo circulated inside the Department of Homeland Security suggests that Trump's use of the military for domestic law enforcement on immigration could soon get worse. The memo obtained by the New Republic provides a glimpse into the thinking of top officials as they seek to involve the Defense Department more deeply in these domestic operations. And it has unnerved experts who believe it portends a frightening escalation. Indeed, it does. The memo lays out the need to persuade top Pentagon officials to get much more serious about using the military to combat illegal immigration and not just at the border. It suggests that DHS is anticipating many more uses of the military in urban centers, noting that LA-style operations may be needed for years to come. Yeah, just think of a permanent police state, guys, a military police state. That's what we're headed for. That's what we're in now. It's just going to get much worse. And it likens the threat posed by transnational gangs and cartels to having Al-Qaeda or ISIS cells and fighters operating freely inside America, hinting at a ramped up, militarized posture inside the interior. So they don't, they talk about sleeper cells from Iran and sleeper cells from China and from all over the place, right? Well, the reason they keep doing that is to justify all of this military intervention here in the United States. There's supposed to be something called posse comitatus that prevents the military from being used for domestic law enforcement unless it's an extreme emergency. Well, they're using this so-called invasion, across our southern borders in particular, a national emergency. And so we have to have the military, right? Well, wrong, but anyway. The memo is alarming because it speaks to the intent to use the military within the United States at a level not seen since the Japanese internment. That's Kerry Lee, senior fellow at the German Marshall Fund. The military is the most powerful coercive tool our country has. We don't want the military doing law enforcement. It absolutely undermines the rule of law. The memo was authored by Philip Hegseth, the younger brother of Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, who is a senior advisor to the Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem and a DHS liaison officer to the Defense Department. As such, it also sheds light on the Hegseth the younger's role, which has been the subject of media speculation, labeling him as an obscure but influential figure in his brother's MAGA orbit. The memo outlines the itinerary for July 21st meeting between senior DHS and Pentagon officials, with the goal of better coordinating the agency's activities in defense of the homeland. It details goals that Philip Hegseth hopes to accomplish in the meeting and outlines points he wants DHS officials to impress on Pentagon attendees. Participants listed comprise the very top levels of both agencies, including Defense Secretary Hegseth, several of his top advisors, Joint Chief Chairman Dan Kane. They call him, Raging Kane or something like that? Raising Kane. Unreal, these guys. And Northcom Commander Gregory Guillat. Staff include Phil Hegseth and Acting ICE Commissioner Todd Lyons. Due to the sensitive nature of the meeting, minimal written policy or background information can be provided in this briefing memo. And so experts, well, anyway, the U.S. military leadership, chairman of the Joint Chiefs and NORTHCOM, need to feel for the first time the urgency of the Homeland Defense mission. They need to understand the threat, what's at stake, and the political importance the administration has placed on this issue. Experts I spoke with were surprised at how bluntly that suggests DHS pressure on the Defense Department to get the military much more involved in immigration enforcement, potential tension between the top officials at both agencies over this imperative, and possible resistance to it by Pentagon officials, as there should be. The memo says aligning both agencies this way is a priority of the president, meaning Trump. It's disturbing to see that the DHS officials pressuring the U.S. military to turn its focus inward even further. Joseph Nunn, Counsel for the Liberty and National Security Program at the Brennan Center, told me. Nunn said this suggests that military involvement in domestic civilian law enforcement is about to get more common. Yep, just like we thought. As soon as it got started, guys, that was a slippery slope, and it was just going to keep, like a snowball rolling downhill, getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And they're going to come up with more reasons they need to use the military. And of course, they're using ICE. We've got illegal immigrants everywhere, all across the country, Johnny. So we got to use the military everywhere. And they're expanding ICE to, 50,000 personnel now. At least they've got that many. So it's going to be the biggest law enforcement agency in the country at this point. So they say the upshot seems to be that DHS is urging top Pentagon officials to prioritize using the military against illegal immigration to a substantially greater and unprecedented degree, and that discussions are underway to accomplish that with Defense Secretary Hegseth's blessing. It sounds like DHS and Secretary Hegseth are trying to compel the military to agree to operate much more directly inside U.S. territory, according to Corey Shockey, Director of Foreign and Defense Policy Studies at the American Enterprise Institute. Asked for clarification of the memo's intentions, DHS spokesperson Tricia McLaughlin declined comment. The New Republic obtained it on the condition that we refrain from posting the original document, so we post much of the text here, and they omitted some logistical and biographical details. I'll let you read the rest on your own. But yeah, they say the recent military operations in LA as follows in the memo. They said it hasn't been perfect and we're still working through best practices together, but I think that's a good indicator of the type of operations and resistance we're going to be working through for the years to come. So, wow. Anyway, guys, it's alarming. It's appalling that we have military operating on the streets of the United States of America. That was never supposed to happen, but here we are. We're in the end times, and the end is getting close. Wow. Is it ever? So then we have Trump partnering with big tech to launch a health tech ecosystem initiative powered by AI and digital IDs, fulfilling the World Economic Forum's Agenda 2030. Trump described this as a historic victory for the American people, a very important one. Today, the dream of easily transportable electronic medical records becomes a reality, or finally becomes a reality. Wow. I'm not going to read any further than that on these because, like I say, I'm trying to keep these videos a little shorter. I just wanted to make you aware of what they're doing. So they're partnering with big tech. Palantir is going to control everything, essentially, along with some of their subsidiaries, but you get the point. Guys, they're not only putting all of your medical records into one AI system, that's to go along with your Social Security records, your HHS records, anywhere, your tax records. It's all being put into this big centralized AI-driven system. So they can pull up all your info, boom, with the scanner. Now they want to scan your face. They want to scan your digital ID, which will be your face, essentially. So they'll biometrically scan you, and they'll be able to pull up every single bit of information from all these different agencies all at once. That's the goal here. That's what they're doing. And if you think Russia's going to be any better off, think again. Digital gulag is going up over there as Putin signs the law that criminalizes searching for online content deemed extremist and targets VPNs in particular. So they're getting just as police stated over there inside of Russia as they are here in the United States. So this law takes effect on September 1st. As to what classifies as extremists, well, that's up in the air as of yet. Give this one a like. Guys, if you're not subscribed to the Wine Press over at Substack, I highly recommend you do so. He puts out a lot of great content every single day. Those Western nations continue to once again tighten the yoke of online censorship and freedom of speech. Russia's acting similarly. Yesterday, the Russian President Putin signed a law that doesn't just penalize posting certain content, but it fines individual for simply intentionally searching or accessing so-called extremist content, along with penalizing users of virtual private networks, VPNs, and VPN advertisers, according to state media outlet TASS. So what is meant by extremist is uncertain, as the vague guidance does not provide a proper definition. No, they'll just kind of make it up as they go, just like they will here in the U.S. The Moscow Times says the new legislation does not specify how such activity would be monitored, raising concerns among legal experts about expanded surveillance and potential abuse by law enforcement. However, Euronews says the law targets internet users who knowingly search content from the Russian extremist register, which contains 5,473 entries and is maintained by the Ministry of Justice. So now you're expected to know as an internet user what all of those entries are, apparently. So TASS added that according to the new rules, violators will pay from 3 to 5,000 rubles, that's $30 to $60 American, for searching for extremist materials from the relevant list, including using a VPN. For advertising VPNs, households will pay 50 to 80,000 rubles, or $600 to $1,000 ruble fine, and from 80,000 to $150,000 rubles, and companies from 200,000 to 500,000 rubles. So it just keeps going up the more money you make, or the bigger operation you are. Digital Development, Communications, and Mass Media Minister Maskut Shedayev previously said that the new norms would not affect the layman. Search engines would provide people's queries to the Interior Ministry only as part of a criminal case. He said law enforcement officers would have to prove intent and that the user knew in advance that these were extremist materials from the relevant list. Now, I've seen how Russian law works before. Ignorance is no excuse of the law. And if they want to use it against you with this vague language, they certainly could. So Putin also signed a law that makes using a VPN while committing a crime an aggravating circumstance. Amendments have been made to Article 63 of the Criminal Code, which outlines a list of aggravating circumstances. Now, crimes committed using hardware and software means of access to information resources, information and telecommunication networks, access to which is restricted, will carry stiffer penalties. And like I said, the law will go into effect September 1st. Some authorities are not pleased with the changes, and there have been people that are protesting it and saying it's overreaching. But nonetheless, it has been signed into law. And they're going to keep doing these types of things, not just in Russia, but around the world, as they all get in line with the World Economic Forum and their goals. Just like it's, said, they're targeting to fulfill the WEF's Agenda 2030. That's what they're doing here. And then Donald Trump, when he released the AI action plan last week, it lays out how artificial intelligence will be integrated into most things, like we just talked about, into everything. Social Security, the IRS, anywhere you've got records, they're going to be integrated into it, the AI. He remarked about this on July 23rd. So from this day forward, it'll be a policy of the United States to do whatever it takes to lead the world in artificial intelligence. He certainly was not kidding. And such an agenda aligns with previous statements by the World Economic Forum and its visions for global healthcare systems by the year 2030. Everything will be digitized and everything will be in the cloud. And of course, everything will be very, very hackable at that point. So your privacy is absolutely gone now. And as Eric Trump said in a tweet when they first took office back at the end of January, anyone that stands against Trump and his golden age agenda, he says, we will run you down. Matter of fact, let me pull that back up real quick. So I haven't seen it for a while myself. And there it is, from January 27th of this year. Eric Trump and the golden age tweet, we will run you down. And then just like I predicted, they'd say that they never made it. They'll say, oh, that was never up there. We never made that tweet. And like I said, just as I predicted it at the time, I think it was the next day they came out and said that we didn't make that tweet. Let me double check and see. Yep, there it is. So I published this one on the 27th. And then by, let's see, I said I'd never made that tweet by the 30th. So it took them 3 days. So here's the tweet that says, Eric Trump said they never made that golden age tweet that I just showed you. So unreal, right? Keep gaslighting us at every turn as well. Well, that's it for now, guys. Don't forget, don'tspeaknews.com. This is home base for everything that we do. I put a lot of stuff here that we can't speak about anywhere else. And it's over, it's almost 2,700 stories now. Videos, podcasts, and so on, all here in one place, don'tspeaknews.com. If you want to subscribe or contact me, there's a box to do so at the bottom of every article. Otherwise, you can click on this tab here and subscribe from here. Type in your email, click subscribe, and you're in. And guys, I'm not demanding that you subscribe, and I don't really care if you do or not. I mean, it's nice so that the information gets out and it's getting to you guys in a timely fashion. But I did this mainly because you guys requested it. And I'm not trying to criticize anyone who wants to unsubscribe. I'm not trying to put you down or run you down or anything like that. In fact, I'm hesitant to reply to any of your emails anymore because you guys always take what I say the wrong way. Or in a lot of cases, you do. And so anyway, I'm not criticizing anyone for unsubscribing. I understand. I unsubscribe from different newsletters at times because there's just too much coming at me at once. On any given day, I've got 150 emails just in one account that I need to go through and sort through. And it's not easy. And it just keeps building up because you never get through them in one day, right? So anyway, I'm not trying to disparage anybody for not subscribing or for unsubscribing. I'm just saying that I put it here because you guys requested it. You want an easy way to subscribe, and so I gave it to you. So please stop complaining about it. That's what I'm trying to say. I don't care if I've got 100 or 500 or 5,000 subscribers. I mean, the more the merrier, right? We want to always, expand the family, so to speak, our Christian family here. But the point is, that's not my objective. Isn't to get X amount of subscribers. It's just to make it easier for you guys to stay on top of what I'm doing here, if you wish to do so. And if not, if it's too much for you, I get it. I understand. There's information overload right now. So please don't feel insulted in any way, shape, or form. If you don't want to subscribe or you want to unsubscribe, I completely understand. Anyway, it's there for you if you wish to use it. And if you want to contact me, don'tspeaknews@protonmail is the way to do so. Channel support is right here. If you want to support our channel, we are listener supported only, and we sincerely appreciate each and every one of you that do so. And Rumble, BitChute, and Telegram, all the places to find us are right here underneath that tab. And that will be it for now. God bless, take care. Johnny Storm, Don't Speak News.